Alright. So the top 5 cheap fall fragrances sounds like a pretty good title for someone who's looking to get some clicks. But you're already here, so enjoy the freaking video. Now, it's a pretty popular opinion in the fragrance community that the best way to purchase a fragrance is to save up over time and get a better fragrance. Good things come to those who wait. But what the heck happens if you don't want to wait? What if you want good things right now?
Don't care how, I want it now.
I don't know about where you guys are, but where I am, the weather has already started getting a little cooler. Kids are going back to school, the football seasons are starting. All signs say that fall is on the way. So unfortunately, if you haven't already started saving up your pennies, chances are you're not going to be getting anything really good really soon. That doesn't mean you can't go and get something right now that's budget friendly, that'll work perfectly fine for the fall season or the cooler weather. You see, a lot of people won't touch inexpensive fragrances for 2 main reasons. They smell cheap and they don't last long. I can completely understand that thinking when it comes to things like warm weather fragrances, where the main notes and accords are citruses and lighter notes and things of that nature. But during the colder weather, I feel like it's a whole new set of circumstances. See, cold weather fragrances have sweeter notes and deeper notes and more pungent notes, which I think is easier to duplicate at a lower price point. So in my opinion, it's totally cool to wear a cheaper fragrance and get exactly what you need in the cooler weather. If you're a fan of the fall season, make sure you hit that like button. And maybe I can send you an old-fashioned Nerf football, or a leaf blower, or maybe even those orange plastic bags that you put your leaves into, and you can decorate your yard for Halloween, and you don't have to go to Walmart and get like $400 in Halloween decorations. It's all right there for you. All you have to do is hit the like button. Here today, I'm gonna give you 5 of my top cheap fragrances for the fall season. Now, obviously, I don't have every single cheap fragrance ever. What do I look like? A maid of not a lot of money? But these are 5 that I own that won't cost you a fortune. You can get them right now for cheap, and they're gonna do you very well in the fall season. So let's get into it. Our first fragrance is a fragrance that I'm sure most of you have probably already heard of. This fragrance right here, from what I can tell, you either really love or hate its freaking guts. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground with this one, but I personally think it smells great, and it's a great cheapie for the fall season, especially the amount you get and the price you get it at. That is Halloween Man X. Halloween Man X is famous for its coffee note, which a lot of people claim to not smell at all, but I definitely smell some sort of coffee-ish note in there. This has cardamom, coffee, whiskey, leather, some incense, some cinnamon, and some tonka bean, and it lasts just as long as you want it to, as long as you spray it the way you're supposed to. You get 125 milliliters with this thing, so you can afford to spray it as liberally as you like, and it'll cut right through the cold weather. No problem. You don't have to love this one, but I personally like it, and it's one of the only fragrances my wife actually likes as well. That's Halloween Man X. Our next fragrance is a fragrance that over time has become somewhat of a rack store darling, and it's become pretty popular due to its similarities to another popular fragrance that everyone knows, which is Versace Eros. This fragrance is Guess 1981 Los Angeles. This is another super cheap one that you can find at rack stores like Burlington like all the time. But for me and my nose, I pick up a lot of tobacco in here, which totally changes the dynamic of the fragrance. With pepper, mint, ginger, tobacco, amber, among some other things. This thing basically performs the same as Eros. It basically smells the same as Eros, but you could get it for a whole buttload cheaper, and you can get it right now at freaking Burlington or somewhere. So why not give it a shot? It's Guess 1981 Los Angeles. This next fragrance is a fragrance I've talked about before. I can put a card up here with a video in case you want to hear my full thoughts on this fragrance. It's probably the worst video ever, but watch it anyway. It'll be a good time. This is another fragrance that you can get super cheap at a rack store. When I bought this, it was $20. But unfortunately now, with our economic situation and inflation, unfortunately, it's now up to the astronomical price of $23. But I promise you, it's even worth $23. That's Banana Republic Black Walnut Legends. This Aventus style fragrance is one that I don't think anybody hates the way it smells. It's got a little bit of freshness, it's got some black pepper, it's got this incensey feel, it's got this leathery feel, it's got this woody feel. It is perfect for the fall season, I promise you. And like I said, you can get it for as low as 23 bucks at a freaking rack store, and it is worth it. Probably one of the best $20-ish fragrances I've ever smelled. You can see how much of this stuff I've used. I love this stuff. I once called it my official work scent for Fragrance Fight Night. That's Banana Republic Black Walnut Legend. My fourth fragrance is a fragrance that you're gonna find cheap regardless of where and when you buy the thing. It's another tobacco fragrance that does smell synthetic. However, I've smelled a lot of fragrances at this point, and still to this day, I think this thing smells good. Due to its price and profile, I feel like this is one of the best beginner fragrances for anyone trying to start their fragrance journey and collection. The fragrance is, of course, CK1 Shock. Ah, my old friend CK1 Shock. This thing is like 20 bucks for 100 milliliters, and it's one of the only fragrances I own that's actually got me compliments from a complete stranger. Unsolicited, out of nowhere. The video's right there. Tobacco, amber, clementine orange, lavender, some cardamom. This stuff is one of the first fragrances I think of when somebody asks, what's an inexpensive fragrance I can get for the cooler weather? You can't go wrong with CK1 Shock, especially for younger guys, especially for beginners who are trying to dive into tobacco fragrances. CK1 Shock. If you couldn't tell by now, tobacco fragrances are the type of fragrances that I really love and get into when the weather starts getting cooler. And this number 5 fragrance is no exception. This fragrance right here is one that a lot of people, even those with really advanced noses, tend to enjoy during the holiday season because it kind of gives off this sort of Christmas tree, Christmas feeling vibe that is super festive and everyone seems to love. A lot of you probably already know what I'm talking about. That's Burberry-London. That's right, good old sweater bottle. Like I said, a lot of people enjoy this around Christmas, but I like it as soon as it gets chilly out. It has a lot of the notes that I've already mentioned before with these other fragrances, such as tobacco, cardamom, leather, cinnamon, and lavender. Some people will complain about the performance of this one, but I guarantee not many people are going to complain about the smell. And like I said with the Halloween Man X, if you spray it the way you probably should, it's going to last you just fine. It'll last you all day. Spray it on your clothes. Don't be a baby. I'm going to come back at you with another video telling you my 5 favorite fall staple fragrances that are probably a little more along the lines of good things come to those who wait. So make sure you subscribe and you don't miss that one. But until then, you can totally enjoy these 5 cheap alternatives that'll get you through any situation during the cooler weather. If it's still summer where you are, enjoy the rest of your summer. If it's already cold where you are, you better jump on it, dudes. Get some fragrances for the cooler weather. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. I love you. Poosh.